Good morning, mathematicians. Welcome to another short episode where this time I'll probably spend a little bit of time working on my thesis on stream until I get distracted by questions from chat. And then I'll cut that off at like the 20-30 minute mark. And that's just how it is. So buckle up. Oh, Nerdy Quagsire. How's it going? Until I get distracted by questions from chat. And then I'll cut them. Hopefully you're studying hard today, Nerdy Quagsire. Is due tomorrow? Yes, it is due tomorrow. Working on stream? You betcha. Well, working on stream for a couple seconds until I get, distracted by some question from chat. Yeah. Okay. What do I want to say here? I do want to say this. What else do I need to say? I need to fix some typos here. You have to work at your job. Lame. You should just quit your job, live under a bridge, and do math from there. Hey Russ, good morning. What am I trying to say here, actually? Now let me go back. I was gonna write things differently, but actually I'm gonna take this paragraph out. I don't feel like I need to say this. Actually, I can just take this bit out. And then I can go back to writing this here. Yeah, GR times 1. GR times 1. For the Lie algebra. Okay, that's right. That's the... Oh no, but this bracket should go on the outside. Not on the inside, mother. Guys, it's important that I'm having fun. Why is my thesis so short? You've written a longer original work over the reading break. Well, it's probably full of just yapping, A real one knows how to just tell it like it is in a few words in a mere 151 pages. So, okay. And then, right. Now what am I trying to say? I think I need to say something like this. Since IF is normal in WF, and WF mod IF is generated by MFF IF. So short you could fit it in a tweet, depending on how much you're paying for Twitter. Also, Le Pointique, also grinding your thesis manuscript. Hell yeah, brother. Let's get it fucking done. Generated by this. We see that what for lambda at Frobenius normalizes Oh, we should say lambda IF is normalized by lambda at Frobenius. Lambda IF is normalized by lambda at Frobenius, and therefore the normalization preserves IF. You've written a longer thesis in high school for chemistry. It was full of BS though. 150 pages isn't short for a thesis. It's not long. It's not long either, to be fair. Why am I editing my thesis? Yeah, well, Nash is a giga chad. What can I say? Would they even let someone do that these days? I feel like there's so much bureaucracy about what you have to do. Actually, that's not true. We still break the rules for smart kids, so. I'm cooked because it's due tomorrow. Exactly. Yeah. What can I say? I mean, yeah. It's all fine. It's mostly just working on the background right now. Right? The real meat and potatoes of this thesis is just 2 papers that are already written. And to be fair, needed a bunch of edits, actually. But Mr. Stream, oh, do you have a math question, Leo? I don't think you have a math question for me. I don't really believe that. Therefore, lambda MF normalizes hat G BC lambda IF. What a mouthful. Can I explain my thesis to an undergrad? No. Vector spaces, some vector spaces look like more different vector spaces. I can compute numbers. I can compute numbers from representation theory in terms of geometry. That's a short explanation. I'll do a longer explanation video. Maybe once this is done, I'll do a longer video going through my thesis. Maybe. Hello, QB. Do I know any symplectic geometry? A little bit. Not enough to call myself a symplectic boy, but I mean, where's Chris and Ginsberg? Chris and Ginsberg has been one of the main references for my thesis. There's a bunch of there's a bunch of symplectic geometry in there, but not like heavy use of it. What am I trying to do, Aquonium? I'm trying to get my thesis submitted for the deadline tomorrow evening. What makes tropical geometry so tropical? Actually, that's a good question. I remember reading the explanation. Tropical geometry. Why? I think it was because of a conference where they had it, right? Where these sort of ideas came out of. I think it was a tropically located conference. If I'm not... Yeah, Brazilian computer science who... Tropical algebra... coined the term playfully because to Brazil, calling Brazil tropical. Yeah. There we go. So I was wrong about the conference, but I was still right in spirit. And do I know any physics? That's a tough question. because when you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, like, what's 10? Is 10 Ed Witten? Or is 10 like a PhD in physics? I know some physics. I've taken some physics courses in. I took some physics courses in my undergrad. And by some physics courses, I mean like a fourth year particle physics course I didn't have the prereqs for. But there's a lot of math, and the professor helped me a lot, so it was fine. There are also generally longer in certain areas for math. Yeah. For example, math phys often requires a lot of calculations. I can take pages, yeah. I'm guessing in category theory as well, you probably get a lot of diagrams, taking up a lot of space. Oh, cool new proof technique. I think we're almost out of time already. Oh no, it's only been 11 minutes. Maybe I could talk about that. Yeah, I cannot explain this to a high schooler. I cannot explain this to a high schooler. What would I say to a high schooler? To a high schooler, I would say, I'm studying how certain kinds of symmetries that show up in algebra are the same as symmetries that show up in geometry. That's what I would say, I guess. You know, if it's quite an interesting proof technique, but seeing how classical fast Fourier turns into quantum Fourier was pretty cool. Yeah, I'll need to go read up on that someday. Reading higher recursion. Why everyone's interested in higher? Why not lower? Why not go sub-normal recursion? How about that? The subproblems disappear into the superposition. The coefficients factor out in the tensor product. Yeah, I'm gonna need to actually read something on that. You should record. Oh, a video for Raymond, not for me? Then no, forget about it. I don't care. You swear the semester is so boring? Linear algebra is just advanced calculus? What? That doesn't make any sense. No set theory, no Dedekind cuts. Well, Dedekind cuts are awful anyways. Cauchy completion's where they're at. No constructional stuff, just integral sums and differentiation. Well, maybe that means you'll have too exciting of a semester next semester. Oh, he was born in Hungary. Oh, interesting. I am doing well, Alexandria. Or is it Alexander Ossems? I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Name one physics thing a real physics knower would know. I mean, I'm tempted to just, list off the, equation, the Einstein field equations or something, but that doesn't make you a real physics knower. Yeah, maybe I don't know any real physics. It's been a hot minute. What am I gonna do? List the Schrodinger equation? I don't know. I don't know. I'm a fraud. I don't actually know physics. What can I say? Symplectic forms. I don't know. Would I tell you what are the prerequisites getting into homology, cohomology, and what book do you suggest? Undergrad introduction book. I suggest a Luffy for everything to do with algebra. I suggest a Luffy with everything to do with algebra. It's got cohomology, homology, cohomology in there, up the wazoo. So here's what you do. You go over to the first chapter where it introduces homology and cohomology, and you start trying to read. And if you don't understand the words, you just circle the words, or maybe don't literally circle if you don't like marking up your book. Just write down the words you don't understand and go back through the book, because this book starts at set theory and basic stuff about groups. So yeah, that's my suggestion. Go get yourself a copy of Luffy. Start trying to read the thing you're interested in. Once you hit 5 words you don't know, go back and learn those words, and then once you've learned those words, you go back, you start reading until you hit more words you don't know. That's my recommendation. Yeah. Point set topology and a bit of group theory. Oh, okay. Hang on a second. Depends what we're talking. Okay, I should clarify. I've had to clarify this a million times. When you say homology slash cohomology, when you say that, I think about the very general algebraic theory of homology slash cohomology. I'm not thinking about homology slash cohomology of topological spaces. You already took points at topology and introduction to algebraic topology. Okay. Okay, sorry. So, if you meant the topological stuff, scratch what I just said, although I think you should learn it. And go pick up either Hatcher's book or Tom Deek's book, because apparently Hatcher's divisive, and start reading either of those. That's what I would do. Straight to concise algebraic topology. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Depends on how goated you are. Maybe if you're pretty goated, that's the right move. Wow, I defeated Leo. Crazy. You were today years old when you learned the definition of a submanifold in Rn? Nice. Could I give you a hint on how to begin proving the intersection of all centralizers in a group is equal to the center of a group? Well, I mean, there's really only one way. Well, that's not true. It's not only one way, but I mean, what do you need to do? What do you need to do is, I mean, how do you prove that two sets are equal? Well, you prove that for all little x in x, little x is in y, and then you prove for all little y in y, little y is in x, right? So if you want to prove that the center of G is the intersection of the centralizers of G, what do you need to do? Well, you need to prove that for all x, maybe I'll write it as z. You need to prove for all z in the center of z, z is in the intersection of all the centralizers. And you need to prove for all z in the intersection of all the centralizers that z lands in the center. But let's go back up to this first one. What does it mean? I mean, if well, actually, let's look at this other one. What does it mean if z is in all the centralizers? Is in the intersection of all the centralizers? Then what does that mean? Z is in the centralizer of G for all elements of the group. Okay, now unpack that definition. And I think you're on your way. You'd like to see a book on proof theory which puts long emphasis on the arithmetical hierarchy? Me too. I still need to I still need to just open up my set theory book. Actually, they were giving away books in my department, and they had a copy of Set Theory by Yak. So maybe I'll better understand model theory and arithmetic hierarchy soon. Although I don't know how much he talks about the arithmetic hierarchy in there. You already took points at... Oh, yeah, you mentioned that, yeah. Dun, 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 dun. In reality, you're a bit interested in hyper doctrines right now. I have no idea what that is. And the syntactic categories? I have no idea. For practical reasons, bruh, you're gonna have to drop a video on that. You swear the most boring stuff ever. You can't wait for abstract algebra next semester. Yeah. Yeah, it's the way it goes. Sometimes you gotta do some boring stuff. What font is that? You mean in my thesis? I don't know. There's so much preamble. I took a pre-made. I just grabbed a pre-made thesis package and just slapped all my stuff in here. And you can see there's a whole bunch of like conflicting packages and stuff. I'm not even gonna bother dealing with it all. Yeah. Hard anti-recommend Tom Deek. Interesting. How many times have people come in here talking about stuff you just know they don't have any idea of what they're talking about? Less frequently in recent history. Yeah, actually. I mean, if I think back 4 or 5 months ago, it seemed to happen a lot more often. I guess they all went away. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. It's not for everyone. I don't know. I'm not, I don't know. I think Hatcher's fine. I'm not in love with it, but I think it's fine. Divisive means that inspires strong different opinions, yeah. In your proof theory class, we went over the admissibility of the cut elimination rule in G3C. What the hell is G3C? What the hell? Yek probably talks of the Levy hierarchy more than arithmetic hierarchy. Not to be confused with the analytic hierarchy. Oh, maybe actually what I'm thinking of, I think the analytic hierarchy is what's discussed in Introduction to Set Theory. Using Tipst, or Typest, whatever it is. Yeah. As someone who spent a lot of time as a vegan, let me say, Types peoples are the new vegan. They'll let you know about it. Unfortunately, it's divisive to you, and you've been splitting into multiple little Leos. Yeah. Yeah, I would say maybe it's divisive to me as well. Good afternoon, chilled vibes. Syntactic category is deep CS category theory, I see. With this functor represents a theory, model, realization, yada yada. Yada yada. Yeah, we all know that. We all know that. Yeah. Everyone here knows that. Why even mention it? Yeah, I still don't know. But I'll go look it up. Maybe when my thesis is done. Yeah, exactly. Arcturus. Thesis as in PhD? Yes, sir. Anywho. I guess it's time to go and get back to work. So I hope you've all had a thrilling 23 minutes of this morning's office hour. It's all that you deserve. It's because you didn't work harder on your homework. So use this extra time to work harder, and we'll see if we can change things around. So. QED.